Okay guys, I wanted to show you what I've got going here. I've already got my headlight mounts and my headlights, and I've got a sporty styling, kinda, as you can see. I just wanted to show you what I've got. I'm working on my 4x4 still. This thing has kicked my ass up and down. But I finally have a fully independent suspension, which is what you see here. And now here's just one wheel, separate from the other. And I pretty much have a driven, fully independent suspension, which is what's been kicking my ass, by the way. Here's what's pretty cool, though. My little steering wheel. Green forward, red back. But I finally have fully independent suspension, a drivable front axle, and look how much torque this thing has. It's going to drag that freaking battery box. Oh, shit. And steering works, too. It's got worm gear steering, so it's high torque, which is what you want in a four-wheel drive. If you're on like rocky grounds, you want some high torque steering. And it's got two motors on it. So that's just a demonstration of the steering. Now it's going to pull it sideways. So there you go. Right, left. Everything's set up. And I'm betting some of you out there, if this video becomes even remotely popular, might want to know how the hell I did the steering wheel and stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and show that now. Steering wheel, it's pretty simple. Very simple, pretty much. I mean, there's not much to it. This thing has kicked my ass. Forward and back. Oh, and how did I get that plate mounted on there? Oh shit. That would be me turning. Just one of those. And I just like the way it's set up too. I didn't even plan for it to do that, but I just like how those red and green follow the circles pretty much. Follow that circle. So forward and back. And as you can see, I've already got the gearbox. I've ordered more of these, another differential, which is the newer edition of the differentials, so I can match up the gear ratios of the front wheels and back wheels, because they kind of have to, so they can turn at the same rate. And my little headlight mounts are those little Technic bricks right there, so I can put some headlights on there when it's all done. But I figured I'd go ahead and turn this off and show you how it works. So pretty much it just goes right through here, and I've got a differential in there, and I've just got a 90-degree piece meeting, and then I've got CV joints with these specialty pieces that the tires are mounted to, with a two universal joints and two CV joints, one of each on each side, and the suspension is nice and soft with all this weight on it. Finally, it kind of felt springy at first, too springy, but now it feels nice and perfect. The steering, I've got two motors mounted up in chain, and they all go straight to the gear on the far right and out forward into a 90-degree gearbox turner. Turns it to the right, and then I've got and then this is upside down, but it's an upside down piece, but it's a driven that gear down there that you see, that little teal gear, and or tan, or however you want to call it. I think it's tan. I don't know what teal is. Someone want to tell me what teal is in the comments? Go ahead. I don't remember. So that worm gearbox drives the steering, and the steering's just got a gear rack on it, and it just slides back and forth. And no, the winch doesn't actually work. It's just there for show. I'd like to put a working winch on this, but the model is just frankly too small. I've crammed as much as I can to the front there, without and still keeping it solid. So once again, forward, backwards, right steering, left steering, right steering, left steering. Has plenty of steering power, and definitely has plenty of forward and backwards power. I mean, it's just going to drag that battery box. I mean, has no trouble climbing up over obstacles, so I'm going to just go ahead and put the battery box just right the fuck in front of it. And that's the really benefits of four-wheel drive, because if you didn't have four-wheel drive, what happens there is you're just going to push the battery box instead of pulling up over it. So that's what the benefits of four-wheel drive are, and it's got a pretty high torque gear ratio, so I'll be able to take this outside on pretty rough terrain. And I know what people are going to ask is, how good is the independent suspension on this? How well does it raise up the ground clearance? So I'm going to go ahead and get to that too. So the ground clearance is about 3/4 of an inch, which is decent. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's got decent ground clearance, and the suspension just maxes out all the way. I can hit the floor with it. So it's got full travel suspension, and that way if you do hit a bump bigger than it, it's not going to break anything on the suspension and pop it apart. It's actually going to hit the ground, and it's going to the whole car is going to absorb the impact. Now, in a real car, that would be bad. You're going to scratch shit up and tear shit up. But in this, that's actually very preferable, that the whole car absorb the impact and the weak CV joints and plastic pieces of this drive system. So turn that off, and there you go. That would be the 4x4 prototype that I've got going on. Now I just need to make the back suspension setup, which is easy as shit, and then just kind of stylize it, put a driver's seat in there and stuff, add the headlights, mount the battery box, and that's really all there is to it, and then I can go outside and drive it. It could use a little bit more bracing up here, so I will get to that, but suspension's good, everything's good, so there you go.